Hi there, my friends. Welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Here we read all kinds of stories from my books that are falling apart and are like 30 years old. And I'm not exaggerating. This Tinkle Digest, Tinkle is like a monthly or fortnightly magazine for children that they publish in India by Amma Chitrakata, you can see right there. And it has all kinds of general knowledge, quizzes, cartoons, jokes, and stories. And they publish stories from places that are all around the world. Today's story is what you see down there, the Quarrelsome brothers. And this is from the Baltics in Europe. So let's get into this story. Let's see where it is. This book is literally falling apart because, as you can see, I think from down there somewhere, it's from June 1993. So literally 30 years old. So let's get started as I delicately handle my very, very fragile book. The Quarrelsome Brothers, a Baltic folktale. Brensis, Karel, and Michael were three brothers, good at heart but somewhat quarrelsome. So they're fighting about everything. Let me wash first. It's my turn. No, I'm the eldest. Give the pail to me. And you can see in the window of the house back there is their dad and their little sister. And they're just both not amused by this. And so they're just splashing the water. Hey, splash, hey! And they're fighting with each other. Their father was fed up with their bickering. As for their little sister Maud, she was the saddest. If Mother were alive, she's thinking, she would have known how to quieten them. These guys look like they're pretty old, by the way. Like, that one's got a mustache. They have to be pretty old to be fighting like this. They're not like 10-year-olds. One day, the father asked his sons to harness the horses to his carriage as he had to go to the town. And one of them says, bring the black horses. No, get the white. I tell you the black ones will be more suited. Be quiet. The whites are more rested and they will run faster. And the father's like, stop it. And he says, stop your quarreling at once. But he never listens to what I say. You are a nincompoop. Only a stupid man would listen to what you say, says the other brother. Their father was at the end of his tether, the end of his rope. If that is how it is, then may you quarrel among yourselves as long as you live, but not here. You must go away. Saying these words, the father drove them off in a rage. It must have been a magic moment when the father said those words, because they came true. What do you mean by calling me a nincompoop? I shall call you an oaf as well. You are both as dumb as donkeys. Maud is standing there like, oh dear, I wonder where they're going. Maud waited and waited, but her brothers did not come back. The days passed into weeks, and the father is thinking, I wish I had never uttered those terrible words. Maud is thinking, poor father, he looks so unhappy. The father went in search of his sons in all the neighboring villages, but Maud asks, any luck, father? And he says, no, my dear, no one has even heard of them, leave alone seen them. Little Maud hated to see her father unhappy. And then she says, let me go and look for them. Perhaps I will have better luck. And father says, my dear, the world is a cruel place. You will not be safe. After a lot of persuasion, he agreed to let Maud go. She's thinking, on her journey, I can only hope and pray that I will find my brothers and bring them home. Maud walked through the forests, waded through brooks and streams, and climbed mountain ridges, till she came to a rock which blocked her path. She taps on it, thud, thud, and notices, oh, it's swinging to one side. Goodness me, someone lives here. And an old man sitting in there says, come in, little one, you must be tired. Rest yourself and tell me about your worries. Maud found herself telling the old man everything. I have not seen your brothers, he says, but I will ask my friends. Come with me. So look, his friends are all forest animals, which is like, these are the friends you want. He says, she's thinking, oh, what a pretty tune. Dear me, look at all the animals and birds. He is speaking to them. He knows their language. So this is a magical old man. After a while, the sparrowhawk tells me that on the southern side of the Green Lake, he has seen 3 young men pounding one another with iron rods. Yeah, that's them. Maud is like, those must be my brothers. Maud rested in the cave for a night and prepared to set off the next morning. The old man says, put this pair of leather boots. They will lead you to the Green Lake. The soles are made of iron. When you have worn them down, you will be close to your journey's end. That's a long time for iron to wear down. Thank you, kind sir, says Maud. And then he says, and take this whistle. Once your brothers blow it, they will get rid of their quarrelsome habits. But, says the old man, each must blow of his own free will. You must not force them or persuade them to do it. And then Maud is like, you are so good. This is the most precious gift I've ever received. Good she knows the value of this. This could save her whole family. Once again, Maud walked across fields and meadows, crossed brooks and climbed mountain ridges until, ouch, what was that? It's a tiny stone. The sole of my shoe is worn off. That means I'm near the Green Lake. And indeed, that evening, this must be the Green Lake. It looks like a giant emerald. I must find my brothers now. As she walked through the forest, there's a light there. It comes from that house. My brothers, she's thinking. How I've longed to see their faces. They seem to be happy. They're not fighting anymore. She knocked and entered the room. May I come in? Yes, of course, says one of them. And the other one doesn't. You realize none of them recognize her. He's thinking, such a young girl. What is she doing in these lonely parts? Maud realized that her brothers did not recognize her. I have come from very far. May I stay the night in your cottage? And the oldest one says, yes, you may, but she says, you seem to hesitate. If I am a nuisance, meaning if I'm a bother, if I'm a burden, please tell me so. And the oldest one says, no, you are no nuisance. It's just that there is a spell over us. Well, at least he remembers that. A spell, she says. Yes, it compels us to fight from sunrise to sunset. So if you see us attacking each other in the morning, please don't be frightened. We don't hurt each other that much. The next morning, good heavens, what a noise, crash, bang from outside. And they are really they've got weapons now. So what a terrible sight, Maud is thinking. I have to put an end to this. Shutting the windows tightly, she ran into the kitchen. I must bake 3 loaves of bread. She prepared the dough, and then she's thinking, the smallest one I will sprinkle with cumin. This medium one will have Mama's ring. And this large one will hold the magic whistle. When the sun had set, the brothers returned home after a long day of beating each other up. And then they're thinking, what a delightful odor. I recognize it. It's the aroma of freshly baked bread. Look, the house is so clean, one of them says. The curtains have been washed. And then Maud says, supper is served. Why don't you wash and sit down? The brothers came eagerly to the dining table. Michael, the youngest of them, bit into the small loaf on his plate. This is the kind of bread that only our mother could bake, he's thinking. And so he's remembering. Carl, the second brother, sliced a piece of his loaf. What's this? A ring? Show it to me, says Michael. It's our mother's ring. She gave it to our little sister on her deathbed. And then the oldest one says, if the ring is here, our Maud must be here too. They remember her. They remember her name. And then they turn to her, Maud. Maud. And she says, here I am. Oh, I'm so happy that you remember me. The brothers embrace their sister warmly. How is father? The oldest one asks. He is so miserable without you, Maud says. You must come back home now. And then they say, well, we can't do that. Not while the spell is on us. People would laugh at us. Yeah. From sunrise to sunset? Yeah, they would. You must not stay here too. What if you get hurt during one of our fights? And Maud is like, I can't go back without you. Suddenly, the oldest one finds the whistle in his bread. What can this mean? He's thinking. Why, it's a willow whistle. Let me have it. I will whistle something. And remember, they have to do this on their own. This has to be their idea to blow into the whistle. As the old man said, she can't even suggest it to them. She can't even be like, oh, why don't you use this? No, so it was Michael's idea. Carl played a tune on the whistle. That's the song Mother used to sing to put us to sleep every night. Give it to me. Let me play a tune. Michael, too, played a tune. Something seems to be melting deep inside my heart. It's such a touching tune. I could cry. Give it to me and I'll play something cheerful, says the oldest. So you see, all three of them are playing on this whistle. And so there's a nice cheerful tune. Hey there, Maud, this tune was made for dancing. And Maud says the spell is broken, just as the old man said. And her brother says, which old man? Maud told her brothers everything. And they said, let us wait until the morning and see whether what you say is true. The next morning, Carl, I don't feel like punching your nose any longer. And I don't feel like breaking your teeth. That's fantastic. They locked up their cottage and set out for home. And then the oldest one says, I feel homesick for the village. And then Maud says, we must first stop and thank the old man in the cave. The old man was waiting for them. You are good children. There aren't many who remember to come back and say thank you. So, hey, there's a lesson right there. Always go back and say thanks, even if you've gotten the thing you need. As a reward, says the old man, I'll give you this magic chair. Each one of you hold one leg and you will be taken home. And so they were. Only in these stories, huh? Magical whistles and magical chairs. Back in the village, they were greeted with such joy. Never was the sound of a quarrel heard from their house again. The end. So if you want to hear more stories like this, then think about subscribing to this channel and join us again next time for another video. All right, we will see you soon.